Homestead. Today we're going to be making white sandwich bread, homemade, and it is a beautiful, beautiful white bread. This is one that I have previously made the other day. It's soft, it's risen nice, it doesn't have huge holes in it, it's just perfect, nice and sliced, really nice for sandwich bread. It's really cheap to make and economical. You can make it for literally pennies. This recipe is gonna make 4 loaves, and I'm gonna break everything down for you in the video afterwards about how much it costs to make this exact recipe. 4 loaves you'll get out of it. So, and also with this one here, we're gonna slice it at the end, and because if you slice it before you freeze it, it comes out much nicer and a lot less crumbly when you try and slice a frozen loaf of bread that has been in there for a little while. But if you make this constantly and you're always rotating your bread, you're going to always be able to have fresh, homemade, perfectly proofed bread. So let's get started. So if you are on a budget or really wanting to budget for the new year, this is a really great recipe because you can even make it cheaper than what I'm going to break down by buying bigger quantities, by buying, say, bigger bags of sugar, bigger bag of flour to save money. Also, like for instance, this is my yeast that I keep in like a glass dish, and I buy it by the 1 pound things at Costco rather than buying it by the jar or the little packets. If you buy it by those little packets, you're gonna pay almost $9 for 100 grams. Whereas when you buy it like this, in a bigger quantity, I wrote it down even, is you're gonna end up paying, okay, so you're probably gonna end up paying like $2.50 for about 100 gram. Whereas the jar even is $5 for 113 grams. So anyway, basically, I'm just saying that the bigger quantity that you get, as you know, always saves you money in the long run. So especially for bread, because I usually double batch this and give some to the kids. So I always make 8 loaves, but today I'm just gonna make 4 loaves because I wanna break it down exactly to the penny for what the prices are right now in Canada, because they're quite expensive here, and show you that you can still make it cheaper and fresher and way more delicious at home than by buying a Walmart brand. Is the lowest price I found, and that's $3.97 a white sliced loaf with the regular price. If you want to go to the bakery and buy the same size loaf that we're gonna make sliced, it's $5.97, and that's even at our local grocery store. So that's the kind of prices that we're looking at. I mean, they may differ where you are, but bigger quantity will definitely yield you more value. So anyway, I'm gonna break this down at the end. So let's get going, and I will show you how to get your dough all ready for the first rise. Okay, so I'm gonna use my measuring spoons, which I don't always use, but I want this to be accurate because I really want to be working towards saving money and just being more frugal. And the prices of groceries are just so insane right now, and I love to cook and bake, so I'm really going to be watching this. So we're just gonna use a glass dish, warm water, sugar, and yeast. So what I'm gonna do is use 2 tablespoons of yeast, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and 1/2 cup of warm water right now. And I'm gonna let that proof. Okay, so I'm gonna set this aside right now. We are gonna let that yeast proof, and we're gonna get the rest of our dough prepared. Okay, so now we're just gonna get our main dough ready, and you'll see the stuff here. This is just, I'm getting sourdough ready. So we'll do that another day when this is all ready to go. We've got our batch all started with our starter. But anyway, in the meantime, I want to make this beautiful sandwich bread because it's so good, and it's so good for toast and egg in the hole if you haven't had that. Okay, so we're gonna add 3.5 cups really warm water. I'm adding this to this big stainless steel bowl because I love having so much room for everything. So I'm going to be using that. So we're going to add 1/4 cup of sugar to this really warm water. And we're going to add some salt. Now I'm using pink Himalayan salt, and that's what I priced this recipe out with, 4 teaspoons of pink Himalayan salt. But if you are using like white salt, please don't use iodized salt, but any other salt is fine, like sea salt or whatever. It will probably be even lower cost because you're using that kind of salt, because the prices have drastically gone up for stuff like salt and sugar and flour and things like that, and olive oil, I've noticed. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And I feel like this recipe is no fail, like it's never failed. Unless your house is freezing cold and not warm, I don't think you can even mess this up, honestly. It's such a great recipe. Okay, now I'm going to grab the olive oil. I'm using this organic olive oil. You can use any oil that you like, it's totally your preference, but not peanut or grapeseed oil. I wouldn't recommend those. But this olive oil is a really great olive oil, and you can see it's kind of cloudy. It's probably because it was cool inside my cupboards. But honestly, I bought 10 of these when they were on sale for $4 each at Walmart. They were blowing them out, and they've got them back now, and they're $13 or $14.97, and I only have 2 left. So that was a killer deal. If you see deals like that, grab it when you can, that's for sure, because now the price has gone even more. I'm glad I went back and grabbed those. So you're going to use 1/2 cup of olive oil. Should really get my apron on, but just don't feel like it. Maybe I'll risk it. Oh, probably have flour all over myself, but that's okay. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I go by the feel of the dough. So this is where it gets a little finicky. Okay, so I don't mean finicky as in the recipe, I mean finicky as in how much flour that I actually add, because I do it by eye. But this time I'm going to be measuring everything because I'm going to have the exact breakdown of the costs for you guys. So I think this will be really, really great. I want to show you how you can make this for really, really low cost. So we're gonna, first of all, we're going to add our proofing yeast mixture, which is looking really good. See how it's getting all bubbly and frothy? We're gonna add that first. And it's been at least maybe 12 minutes or so since I did this. You can leave it for 15 minutes if you want, it's no big deal. Okay, everything's looking perfect now. I'm gonna mix it together. Okay, that's looking so good. It's definitely working. If you don't see the bubbles and it foaming up, you're probably most likely that your water was not warm enough. So I would go somewhere warm or redo it. Probably redo it, because you want, the most important part is if your yeast mixture isn't good, your bread is not gonna rise. And it will taste really tough and yeasty. Okay, so this is just what I mean by I don't measure. But I'm going to today. So, 1 cup. 2 cups. 3 cups. 4 cups. 5 cups. 6. Okay, I'm going to start with that. And I'm just going to gently stir this around. And we're going to go by how it looks and feels. Not, well, you're going to have exact measurements, but when you still do it at home, you're still going to adjust a cup of flour here and there because of, depending on whatever is different in your area, or how much water you used, or it's just, it can always change. Okay, so I'm at 6 cups. I've got like a nice paste going. 7. 8. 9. 10. The reason I'm talking out loud with my cups is because I guesstimated what how many cups we're going to be in this to get the price, but I'm going to change that when I find out exactly, if it's different from what I guessed, exactly what it costs to make these loaves. And I'm going to be baking and cooking a lot more frugally with what I have coming the new year, especially because, well, starting now honestly, but minus turkey dinner at Christmas time, things like that. But just because of the way that the prices are, and when you're on a fixed income, this kind of stuff really matters and makes a huge difference, actually. Oh no, how many cups was I at? Can't remember. Okay. See how you're going to start turning the bowl, and you're going to use your hands and scrape the edge just like you're the spatula. And you can start to feel after, what did I say, 10 cups? I think. I'll have to watch this. I think that's what I said. And it's still a little bit sticky, which is great. We don't want it too floury where it's not coming together. Now I'm gonna add one more because you're kind of getting that sticky, still really sticking to my hands feel. I believe that's 11. And you're just gonna, this is just how I do it. Feel free to use your own method, but I turn the bowl and I scrape and punch down as I go. I like to use that flour to get all of that off. Now it's Now it's becoming really nice and tender. You don't want a big hard rock of dough, that's for sure. With way too much flour that's all stringy. Okay, now some of you guys may do this different. That's totally cool. This is just how I do it. And yes, I've washed my hands. Now after that, it's still nice and you can see it's nice and tender and not over floured. And I just play with it a little, tucking in the bottom as if I was like, I'm just gonna use a sprinkle, as if I'm making a round loaf almost. You're just gonna need, you don't have to knead this recipe like a crazy person for an hour or anything like that. It's not that. It's super easy. And I'm just shaping it again like a little round loaf that's, it might be a little flaky looking at the first rise. That's so okay. And I'm not, okay, so that's about 11. And I'm just going to flour the outside of this. Okay. So I get out a bowl that's pretty big. I don't need it. I need it to be able to at least hold this loaf double or triple size. And I spray that generously with the spray. Now I'm just going to get my pretty little round looking loaf that I've made and pop it in there. Just pop that in there. And now we're just going to let it rise. And let's cover this lightly with saran wrap. I'm going to seal it super tight, but I'm just going to kind of lay it there so no germs or flies go near it or anything like that. And I'm going to put mine near the fireplace to proof, but if you have a proofing setting on your stove, or see, I also have a bread proofing setting on my stove. I could use that, but I'm just going to ready. So I just have this end table, but what I do is I put my bread by the fire here, and it goes much faster. Okay, so I'm gonna look at the time. We'll see what time it is, and we'll see how long this takes to proof to where I want to punch it down. Okay, so it's 2:19, and I'm gonna keep my eye on that dough loaf, and then we will see how long it takes till we have to do our first punching down. And in the meantime, I'm going to clean my hands and the bowl and get organized. So while I'm waiting for this beautiful dough to rise on its first rise, I'm going to decorate this table. I've got all these awesome new dishes that I got at the thrift store, this adorable red plaid. So I want to try and make the table look nice for Christmas, so I'm gonna vacuum. It's a big mess. Put away my wrapping station and clean up. And look, we're both in red plaid. We're all Christmased out. Totally by fluke. I think we're like log house nerds. I don't know. But we're definitely the redneck plaid crew. Okay, so I'm gonna go get my Christmas decorating on while we wait. And this is also a great recipe for if you are just home all day. You can start it in the morning and bake it at night, and you've got fresh bread for the next morning. Okay, so I tried to make the table nice with these cute new dishes that I got in the thrift store. So I just love the pot. So I've left room for butter and cranberry. I just wanted to show you the little tree that we got from our yard. We don't even have a star, we don't care. It's just cute. And do you guys tell me if you put cards in your tree? It's our tradition that we always put all the cards inside of the tree until Christmas. So yeah, I'm thinking it looks pretty cute. Again, we'll put the butter and buns and cranberry on here. And I'm going to have, in the kitchen, I'm going to have a crock pot. I have some extra mugs, and I'm going to make homemade eggnog or hot chocolate, I'm not sure which, in the crock pot, so everybody can just help themselves when it comes time. And it's so warm out, everything is melting. This is great. The chickens are loving it. I'm totally all for a green Christmas because it just makes life easier than when things are icy and slippery, but a little sprinkle of white is beautiful too. All right. And this is it's already getting bigger. So it's gonna get like so soft like a pillow, and we want it to at least double in size. So I'm gonna continue to finish cleaning, put this stuff away. Got still a bit of a mess, and then we'll check on this in a little while, but really you can just leave it and forget it for a few hours. This tablecloth is really special to me too because my Auntie Elsie made it for me before she passed away, and so that's definitely a keepsake tablecloth. So I absolutely love it. Can you imagine the time put into this? Like, oh my goodness, so special. Definitely be a hand-me-down to my daughter. I just sprayed 4 bread pans, 2 silicone and 2 glass, but you can use anything you have. These are just random what I have that are mostly the same size while you're waiting. And yeah, then that's all ready to go. Okay, you guys, I just washed my hands, and I'm gonna take this Saran wrap off because the dough is about doubled. Now we can use the same bowl and not have to dirty any dishes, and I'll show you how I do it. And so I sprinkle about ½ cup of flour, so that now we're at 11.5. So I'm gonna write that down actually on my little notepad over here. Okay, so now what you want to do is you just want to punch that beautiful dough, and that looks super nice, down. Don't add too much flour. ½ a cup or ¼ cup is plenty at this point, and it should be super supple. And see how that is kind of shiny and tender? It's just beautiful. So I'm just going to knead that just a tiny little bit. Get that gluten going. And then I'm going to do what we did earlier and just shape this like a beautiful round. Now it's really tender. The outside is smooth, whereas before the outside was a little bit, still had some marks on it, but this is looking really nice. So it's super, super smooth. Oh, we got some peely layers. That's okay. All right. I think that's a dog noise. I don't know what that was. Okay, so now I've got the perfect round dough here. We're going to put the saran wrap on it and wait for it to double one more time. So now it's 4:19. The sun has gone down. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it back by the fire for a couple more hours. It's been another couple hours and this is looking beautiful. Look at that. So soft. Can you see how it's not dried out? Super soft. So we're going to punch this down now. Put it into our dough bread pans and let it rise one more time. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of flour. Sorry you guys if the lighting is bad, but it's getting dark out now. It's just that time of day. Okay, so we don't need much flour here at all. What I want to do is I want to try and make it into about like a rectangle. Like this. That way when I cut it into 4, I get a more even. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that in half, and then I'm going to cut this in half again, but because the end is a little bit smaller, I'm going to cut it right about here to try and get them more equal in size. So I put a couple back into the bowl, and now I just want to kind of shape these basically really nice the way it is. And I like to do this to the side and turn it so I'm pinching the back like this. That way it gives me a nicer top. If you need a tiny little bit of flour, I'm just using what was already there. And I'm just doing the same thing. I'm just gonna pinch this underneath to get me a nicer top. That one is quite a difference in size, so I'm going to help if I use the sharp side. Take that one and add this one here to this guy, because we want 4 that are shaped approximately the same size. Those look good. This might happen to this one too because I may have cut one too big, but it's easy enough to fix. Plus I have one glass dish that is a little bit smaller than the rest, so I think I'm just going to leave this one. Oh, I used the wrong side. You'll know the sticky side goes to the top because when you roll it under, it looks perfect. So you could use this as a really yummy dough too to make dinner rolls. And if you want to make dinner rolls, you just cut these into little sections and do the same thing. Curl them under, pinch the bottom of your dinner roll, and that's all you have to do. And I think you can get 24 dinner rolls. out of this at least, if not more. You can make them quite small because this still has to rise again. Okay, so these are looking great. I put the bigger one in this bigger dish. It's just slightly smaller than this one. But if I had all four identical, that's what I would definitely use, just so I could show you how they are so uniform. If you size them pretty close to like the same size to fit the pan. So we're just gonna let these rise now until they're double in size. And with it being so warm in here, I'm sure it won't take no time at all. So now all I'm going to do while I'm waiting is I'm going to crack one small egg with maybe a 1/4 cup milk, and once these bread have risen and they are ready to put in the oven, I'm going to go ahead and brush this egg milk mixture over the top of it. I mean, it is optional, but it gives it that beautiful golden color, like this bread from the other day that I made has that beautiful perfect crust on it, and I just always do it, so I think it will look pretty pale if you didn't, but it is up to you. And I'm not going to add the egg into the, well, maybe I will, we'll see. Because I have farm eggs, I don't really know what the going rate is with eggs. All I know is it's atrocious. But I just used a little small egg and a drizzle of milk, and there'll probably be lots left, so yeah, we'll just wait for that. Be sure to let your bread at least double in size. You do not want to underproof it. That's when your bread will be really crumbly and heavy and smell kind of yeasty. You want to let it really have enough time to proof up. So at least double what we just did. Okay, so these are pretty much ready to go in. They're proofed perfectly, and I'm just, I've got the oven preheating at 365. So while I'm waiting, I'm going to put the egg on top. Oh, it's getting late, you guys, I can't even speak. So I'm gonna brush the egg milk mixture on, and you're just gonna coat them all nice and even.
Are you having it? Sure.
These guys are going in the oven now at 365. They've been brushed with the egg and milk mixture. And I'm going to put the timer on for 26 minutes. Look how beautiful these are. I'm only opening the oven to show you how much rise they still have and how much difference that makes putting the egg and milk on the top. Okay, let's see. The buzzer just went off. Oh wow, look at that. So beautiful. So that's all there is to it, you guys. Look at how beautiful that is. I'm gonna wait about 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna take these out of the pans, and then I do not want to slice it until it is totally cool. So I won't be slicing it, and I do not put it in a Ziploc bag or anything when it's hot. It has to be 100% cool, or you will make it all, the top won't be crunchy anymore. It'll sog it all out. So let's let this totally cool, and then we'll take it out, and then we will cut it into beautiful slices before I freeze some of it. I know it's so hard to resist when it's warm to not just cut a piece off the end, but just let it cool more before you cut it. It's gonna be so good. We'll definitely have to sample it. You guys, this bread is absolutely beautiful. just gonna move that over and I'll show you how nice it is to slice. It makes such a really nice size sandwich bread. And if you slice it right, it will fit in the toaster so perfectly. These should pop out of your dishes within like about 5 minutes or so. They really don't stick. They slide right out. And because I'm right-handed, I got to start over here. But this is a really great bread knife. It's not serrated. Well, it kind of is, but it's not regular. And it just cuts a perfect line. Now, if you want to get, that wasn't quite straight. If you want to get it more straight, you can line it like this. And look how thin the slices you can get with this bread just by eyeball, and it won't fall apart on you. See, that will easily make the beautiful sandwich. That one was a little bit, a little bit bigger, but that's just because I started on an angle, which I shouldn't have. I like to turn my bread on the side. That's the trick. And this bread knife, I think it was like $5 or $6 online. Honestly, really cheap bread knife. I could go even a little bit thinner, but we like them a little bit thicker. So yeah, just slice up your beautiful bread and try it. It is fantastic. So delicious. So now I can Ziploc these bags, these other loaves up and get them into the freezer. But first I slice them all, and then I'm gonna put them in the Ziploc bag, get all the air out and freeze them. And when you take them out, they're just beautiful. Here's the first one. I was gonna tell you as well that you can also, if you don't want a whole loaf of bread out and you freeze these, you can just take out like 2 slices out of the freezer and put them on the counter and thaw them in, 20 minutes or something if you want to make a sandwich or some toast, or they'll even toast frozen. But then you don't have to take the whole entire loaf out, and because it doesn't have preservatives, it's gonna go stale faster. It can't sit on your counter for a month like store-bought bread. This is so fresh. So now these are all bagged up and ready for the freezer. They look fantastic. So let's do a breakdown of the costs. Hey friends, I'm back with a price breakdown. One thing I just wanted to mention is here is a loaf that I had made a couple days ago. Let it proof a little too long in the pan and you get like a slice that big. Then it's a lot harder to slice. But really let your breads proof properly. Don't rush them, because then they will really be more dense and taste maybe yeasty. You want to make sure that they have a long enough time that they can proof for in all the risings. So this is a perfect recipe to make in the morning and bake in the evening. You can even bake it late at night and take them out of the pans after 5 minutes, leave them on the counter, and in the morning slice them and bag them, which is what I just did last night. So let's do the price breakdown on this bread. So this is accounting for that the prices of groceries have went up extremely high. And I'll just grab my bread from This is one from last night that has a couple slices taken out of it already, but look how cute and nice that is. So it also depends on the size of your bread pans, how many slices you get. But anyway, so here's the price breakdown. I'm going by that you're gonna buy the flour at a 10 kilogram bag, and salt in like a container like this size. This is actually the olive oil I used, so it was a 750 ml oil, and lemon juice in the bigger container, and sugar in a 10 kilogram bag, because the bigger the bag, the more savings you're going to get, which is better for your budget. So the flour in this, assuming you bought a 10 kilogram bag with the prices that they are right now in Canada, makes out for 30 cents per cup and $3.45 for this recipe. The salt works out to 15 cents for the 4 teaspoons in here. The sugar works out, we used a 1/4 cup sugar. That works out to 42 cups per 10 kilogram bag. So we cost us 35 cents for this recipe. The lemon juice worked out to 5 cents for 2 tablespoons. The oil worked out to 52 cents. Now, I bought these when they were really cheap. All of a sudden, Walmart had this weird blowout thing on this olive oil. I don't know if it was outdated or because there's no date on it, but they were kind of separated. And I think what happened is they froze in shipping. We had a really cold week. I bought like 8 or 9 of these. I only have like 1 or 2 left, and it sucks because I paid $4 each, but these are back at I think $9.97 or $14.97 even. But the one I priced at Walmart, the Great Value brand, this size was $12.97. So I'm sure it's way up there now. So anyway, that cost 52 cents at the regular price that you would pay at Walmart with the 1 liter. The yeast, I accounted for that you chose the little jar of yeast, which is definitely not gonna save you that much money if you don't buy it by the pound. Like if you do a lot of baking, you buy it by the pound, it's way better, and you can store it in your freezer. And that will make this even half of the price or 1/3 of the price. So this costs $1.26 for 2 tablespoons of yeast using the jar, or it would have cost $2 for 2 tablespoons if you bought the little 3-pack of yeast, which is definitely not a good deal. But if you're only just trying something once and you've never made it, it's a great option. So comes to $6.23 for 4 loaves of fresh home bakery bread at $1.55 a loaf. And like I said, you can get that way down if you buy the yeast by the pound and you buy the flour and the sugar on sale, and buy as big of quantity as you can, especially if you're like to bake. So right now at Walmart, I looked at the prices and they have the Great Value white bread on for $3.97. Now, no judgment if you like this bread, but to me, I hate that kind of bread because to me it tastes like styrofoam, and I really like my own homemade bread. And it's so heavy, like dense. I like the holes in this. Like when I make French toast with this, soaks it all up. It's so delicious. And it makes such good toast. Anyway, if you like that kind of bread, that's all good. I'm just price comparing. $3.97 plus tax for just plain loaf. Yes, you get more slices, but you can also leave it on your counter for a month and it won't go moldy. So at least when you're baking your own, you know what's in it. Then I priced out the bakery bread at Safeway, and that was $5.97 a loaf sliced, and it was the same size as the one we just made. There's a couple more slices because they could slice it thinner. I don't have a bread slicing machine, but that was $5.97 plus tax. That's gonna be like $6.30 or whatever it is. It's so expensive. So anyway, $1.55 a loaf for this recipe. I don't think you can really go wrong, and you can cut that down when the prices go down and you stock up on flour and sugar and lemon juice and yeast on sale. I didn't add the eggs on the end, like I said, because I did wash the bread at the end with brushed it with a little bit of milk and egg. I used less than a quarter cup of milk and one small farm egg that I had that didn't cost me anything really from the chickens, because I'm getting right now 5 eggs a day, so I'm on egg overload. But for us, that's a lot. It's enough to share, not really enough to sell yet, but I want to get back to how many chickens we did have before the bear and fox came in and cleaned us out. We've had 2 big episodes of that where we've had a really big nice stock of poultry, and the first time the bear came and ripped the shed open, and the second time the fox came. Anyway, we are going to be power hatching in the spring, and I cannot wait to use my brand new incubator that I couldn't use last year because last year I was very, very sick with cancer and I was waiting on the heart transplant list. So in case you didn't know, I just had a heart transplant 6 months ago, and I'm just getting back to normal life. And that's why it's so key for me to be, I'm on a really tight budget and I'm on disability, and so I need to be really focused on what I make and what I spend. And so a lot of the videos that I'm going to be doing are going to be money saving videos, ways to how much you can make out of something, and really stretching the dollar. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I love you guys. Please leave me a comment if you make it. I'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions about it, let me know. I will answer you. And if you like to see more of these kind of videos, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. So I hope you have a great day, and bye for now, friends. See you next time.